Good evening, everyone, and on behalf of the Village of Cary and the Board of Zoning, Planning, and Appeals, I'd like to hereby call this meeting to order on this Thursday, July the 14th, 2022. Time is approximately 7 p.m. We have a quorum of members, and at this time, I'd like to ask our Director of Community Development, Mr. Brian Simmons, to please call the roll.
Williams? Kretschmer?
Here.
Graziano?
Here.
Jasper?
Here.
Nats?
Here.
O'Laughlin?
Here.
Stefani?
Here.
Corey?
Here. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to rise with us for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks very much, everyone. So to our petitioner that's here tonight, I know you've done this once or twice before, so just to refresh, because we've got some guests here, Mr. Simmons will give us an overview of the petition, and then upon conclusions, a member of the ZPA may have some questions for Mr. Simmons. That's a relatively straightforward process, we know that tonight. And then we'll ask you if you have any additional comments or color to add to the petition. Once we conclude that portion, again, members may have questions for yourself. And then we open it up to the public, so if anybody wants to address us, please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. For those of you that are unaware, we do record the proceedings for those that can't be here tonight, so they can go back and look at them later. Once we close that portion of the meeting, members of the ZPA may have questions amongst themselves. We call the vote, and then we deliver the vote back to our elected officials. That's the process. So before I do a quick administrative procedure, do you have any questions about our process? I know you've been here before. No? Okay.
Excited to be here, thank you.
Yeah, good to see you again. All right, so gentlemen, I know you all received your packages. There should be two meeting minutes in there, one from 645 Industrial Drive and one for 20 Northwest Highway, which was our petition the last time. So I'm gonna ask for a voice vote by a general consent, but before I ask, I just wanna double check to see if anyone has any questions that they want to address. So via voice vote and general consent, those in favor of approving both meeting minutes, 745 Industrial Drive and 20 Northwest Highway, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. So at this time, I will call village case number 22 ZPA 06002. This is for 400 Haber Road. The petitioner is Dave Cook, Elm Tree Properties, LLC, Foxborough Group. The parcel number is 19144290002, and the petitioner is seeking approval of a final plat of subdivision for Harper Point 2 subdivision. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Simmons for an overview.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item really is more of a housekeeping matter related to the project. As most of the board may remember, the developer came before the village back in 2019 to receive approval for proposed senior housing and a duplex project on the property. They're in the process of constructing it. Mr. Cook can provide additional information as far as the status of the project and construction progress to date. This evening, what's presented before the board is the final plat of subdivision related to that project. So as the board may recall, the project originally had 22 24 units within the apartment building, which was the former school building that was on the site. Developer is constructing a second story in that structure and is converting that to apartments that would be for individuals age 55 and older, so an age-restricted project. In addition, they are constructing a total of 22 duplex units on the property. And the proposed plat of subdivision before the board this evening would create the lots of record related to the subject parcels on the site. So staff has reviewed the plat of subdivision, believes it complies with the standards for subdividing property within the village of Cary, and recommends approval of the plat as presented this evening. I can invite the petitioner up front as well to provide additional information on the project, kind of where they're at with the project, development of the project, construction timelines, and then answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. So before we invite the petitioner, gentlemen, questions for Mr. Simmons? Okay, hearing none, we'll turn it over to you. Mr. Cook, I don't know if you have any additional comments or color you'd like to add to the application, but if you do, we just ask that you approach And,
Love to give everybody a quick update. As
Sure.
I mentioned, good to see everybody. You know, good to be at a meeting, especially over the last couple years, right? We're excited to be where we're at. It's taken a little bit longer to get some momentum out there, but we're doing a great job with the renovation, the adaptive reuse of the school building, which is taking a lot more energy, but we're throwing everything we got at it. So outside, I think, is coming together great. Inside, we're gaining you know, a lot of ground there. We're hoping to have first units completed in that building by Thanksgiving, and then likely a grand opening right after the holidays. So we're thrilled about that. Work on the duplex units continues. We are starting right now on building number 4, which is lots 7 and 8 of the original duplexes that Front Harper. Those are coming together great. So we're thrilled, and Brian, as always, did a great job walking us through what we're looking for tonight. So thank you for that, and happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cook. Gentlemen, questions for Mr. Cook? All right, well, thank you very much, Mr. Cook. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen, that we open up for public comment, so any of you that are assembled here, you're welcome to approach the podium. Ask any question you have. Again, if you would like to ask a question, we humbly ask you just state your name and address for the record. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is John Steele. I live at 634 West Main Street, and I might even be at the wrong location. I'm not from this area. I just recently moved here. There was a meeting tonight in regards to some housing that they're talking about putting in the old senior center there on Main Street, and I'm probably in the wrong location.
Well, you could be in the right location, just the wrong meeting,
Oh,
on the
okay.
wrong day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the project you're speaking of is not what's discussed this evening.
Oh,
But
okay.
more than certainly, I'm happy to discuss the project with you as far as the timing that is going forward.
Okay.
Eventually, if the project is proposed, it will come before this hearing,
I see.
but it's not the subject of
Oh,
tonight's
okay.
meeting. So.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Not at
But
all.
if you want to
Bram.
linger for a few minutes, I'm not sure this meeting will last much longer. I'm more than happy to talk to you afterwards as well.
Thank you, Mr. Steele.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, so before I close the public portion, anyone else have any comments?
Charlotte Hebert, 29 South School Street, what he said. Yep, just looking for
All right, we're gonna have to communicate, I guess you're gonna
Yeah.
get some attendance at that meeting.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. All right, so I'm gonna close the public portion of the meeting, and gentlemen, before I call the motion, any questions?
One question.
Please.
When we're talking about 22 duplex units, that's 11 buildings, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we weren't talking about 44.
All right, gentlemen, if there's no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion to recommend to the Village Board of Trustees approval of the final plat subdivision for Harper Point Phase 2.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mr. Simmons, would you call the roll?
Kretschmer?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes,
Jasper?
Yes.
Nats?
Yes.
O'Laughlin?
Yes.
Stefani? Corey?
Yes. So, Mr. Cook, you have a favorable recommendation. We'll wish you continued success with your project. And before we close the meeting, I'm going to double-check with Mr. Simmons around any future meetings or petitions coming down the pike.
I do not have any active petitions currently, so it looks like we will not have a meeting in August as of today, but there possibly will be a meeting in September timeframe.
What is the deadline for submissions if there were to be an August meeting?
30 days in advance, so we're right at that deadline.
And gentlemen, just so I can say this publicly, I have been checking in. I know one of our members is not here tonight, and they asked me whether or not they could participate remotely. And the answer is no. We're all supposed to be here this way in the new environment. So if that changes, I'll keep you posted. And I appreciate your continued flexibility, so thank you very much. So unless anyone else has any questions, I'm going to seek a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Thanks, guys.